everyone, it's Shari Carroll for SimonsSaysStamp.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how I have constructed my journal pages together, and plus I'm making a little cover. If you've been following my series, you know that I've been doing single page journal entries, and these are like top folding card size. And so what I'm going to be doing is gluing these back to back to put everything together. So I've already done these 2 pages, and I'm going to go ahead and continue on, and I want to talk to you about some of the glues that I'll be using. So I'm going to go ahead and put this page on. So this is back to back, as you can see the other one's the back. I'll be using Helmar's 450 quick dry adhesive, and the reason why I'm using this is because it has less water in it, so I won't get the warping like you would with other matte mediums or any other glues. So I'm going to squeeze on a generous amount, really concentrating on the outer perimeters, and then I'll be adding some to the center. I'll go back over the edges just to make sure that I have a really good seal, but pretty much I'm going to really well coat this. Kind of squigglies in the center. It's not going to be fully solidly coated, but just get as much glue as you can. And like I said, this is the best glue that I've found to put things together that you really want to hold. When this glue dries, it doesn't crack, it stays pliable, so this really works well. If you had a glue that was to crack, then it would kind of fall apart over time. Okay, so I have enough glue on here, and what I'm going to do now is go ahead and lay it onto the back of the other piece, and I'll show you here in a second. So here's the folds that you can see. This is the important part, is to make sure that you have the top of these journal entries even, because this is what's going to form your book. So I'm going to go ahead and press this down on my work surface and make sure that I have that really even. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up very gently. I don't want this to shift, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and now I can start pressing around my page. If you have a really good flat page, you could use a bone folder, but for now I'm just going to use my fingers. I do have some time for this glue to dry. So for now, I'm just going to make sure that I press around. Also, you want to press from the center and kind of push out the glue to the sides. That way you know that you have a really good seal. This is how my pages look right now. So I have 4 pages for this journal so far, and they've become really sturdy pages once they're back to back because they have several layers of paper, and then that glue is holding them really strongly. I will be adding more to this book. I want it a bit thicker. I had a few others that I made that I'm not going to include, and I want to do new ones to kind of go with a nice theme. I'll be constructing a book type cover. So what I have here is a 110 Neenah cardstock, and I have a fold there. So what I've done is cut that 5 inches wide by about 7 inches long, and then I have a score line, and so that score line is going to be the top of that book. So right now I'm going to go ahead and score this, and I'm scoring this at 5 7/8, and that gives me about 1.25 inches in between for that width of the pages, or I guess the tallness of the book. So I'm going to go over this a couple times since this is really nice sturdy cardstock. And this sheet here is going to be the outer one. I have cut this about 1/8 of an inch longer than the inner one because I want to accommodate for the fold, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to make sure that I score these really well. I'll go ahead and grab my bone folder and give these a nice crease. I do want to bend them back and forth so that they will fold well, and what that does is it kind of breaks up the fibers when you bend them back and forth, so they become a little bit looser. Okay, so once I have those nice and folded, I'm going to go ahead again and use my Helmar. So when I put these together, the inner fold is a bit smaller, and then the outer fold is a little bit longer so that it sits plush. So once again with my Helmar glue, since it is that quick dry adhesive, and I know that it's not going to warp and it's going to hold really strongly, I'm going to go ahead and just apply this to that outside paper. And earlier I had marked that with a pencil so I knew which one sat on the outside and which one sat on the inside. So I'm going to really coat this well. This is what's going to hold my book together. And once I'm ready, I can go ahead and put my other sheet together. And I'm going to make sure that I line up everything nice and square, and I'll fold these flat and then I'll fold them over just to make sure that everything holds well. As you can see, everything's really nice and flush, and I'll go ahead and let this dry, and then I can start adding some fun stuff. I have cut a piece of fog cardstock, and this is the Simon Says Stamp fog cardstock. I'll be using my Helmar ink. But this piece of paper is cut 5.5 by 5 3/4, so it will fit right inside this back cover, and it'll also give it a little bit more stability. I'm using the Helmar on this because my whole journal will be glued to this back page, so I really want to make sure that I have this one really well sealed and a really nice strong base for my journal. So once I have put down enough glue, I'm going to just kind of go back over and do a couple more squigglies in the center. I can get ready to go ahead and lay this fog cardstock down, so that is just going to sit right at that edge of the fold, and now I can go ahead and press this down. So see, you can see right at that edge of the fold. I'm going to go ahead and butt that up, but I want to make sure that this will still fold. You never want to try to overlap because then you're going to lose your fold. So once I'm happy with that, I can go ahead and spread this out. I'll use my bone folder and press down on the one side. And one of the things about using a bone folder when you're doing this is that you do want to flip this over and press on the other side as well. This will give you a really even page, and it'll be nice and sturdy when I'm all done. Here's another look at my front cover, and I've used a lot of the Teresa Collins products because I really think they're gorgeous. So to start off, I've used one of the sheets of 12 by 12 paper, and I have cut it the same exact size as my outside. And to glue down the base for this cardstock, I'll be using my Helmar glue again, and this will be the last time I'll be using it. But what I want to show you is when you're working on a fold that you really want to add a lot of glue around that fold mark. So I'm going to go ahead and be really generous on that upper tab and also on that fold line. And when I go to set my paper down, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's really well adjusted and straight, and I've lined it up to the bottom. So at this point, I want my paper to dry being folded. You don't want to try to dry it flat, otherwise when you try to fold it, it will break. So once again, I still have a little bit of time with that Helmar. I'm going to just make sure everything's lined up really well and keep this folded. And at this point, I can go ahead and use my bone folder in here and just make sure that I have that glue really well pressed down. I've cut some strips of paper, and I'm using the Teresa Collins 9 & Company, and this is the 6x6 paper pad. There's also some really cute sayings in here that you can cut up, and I'll be adding one of those to my card as well. So I've cut this about 1.25 inches. I'll just be using my tape runner, just adding a little bit of adhesive to the back. And I'm going to just do something fun. I'm just going to put these at an angle, not really caring how I do it. I really like all these colors together. It gives me kind of a nice spring feel, and I'm in the dead of winter right now, so I thought it would just be nice and light and airy. Also, I don't want a lot of bulk on the outside of my cover because I'll probably be putting this journal on a shelf, so I don't want to have a lot of flowers and things that can fall off. I'm also using the Teresa Collins, and these are sticker chipboards, and there's some really pretty flowers here, and I thought these would go really nicely. So my cover isn't going to take very long. All the beauty of my art will be inside my book, but this has a really nice saying, and the saying says, "Life always offers a second chance. It's called tomorrow." And I thought that was really appropriate for a journal since they're kind of daily journals. So what I'm going to be doing next is adding a little bit of foam tape to the back of my little greeting here. I don't want it to sit too tall, but I want it to sit kind of flush above those flowers. So I'll just be adding a few pieces so that I can arrange that. There's another fun chipboard in this pack, and it has like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I thought that was really appropriate also for a journal. Plus it ties in the yellow and it pulls some of that color up towards the top. I've added some of the sequins and a couple other chipboards to finish this off. I really think it's cute, and I do like how it's really well constructed. So how my journal will sit in here is I'll put glue on the very, very back page, and then I'll glue this down and hold that in place. I can put a tie around from the back, and then that's how my book will sit. So I hope I've inspired you on a journal cover and how to put your pages together, and I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, and thanks for watching.